Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Tim's Extremely Low Tech Explosive Podcast. In fact, this is episode number 3, Trace. What makes this super low tech? Really just have a laptop, a couple lights, and that's it. Not using any kind of special software or anything like that. I use one app just to get a cover photo on this when it starts, and that's pretty much it. But otherwise, it's extremely low tech. So this week's episode is going to be a little bit different. Usually I talk about my favorite stuff. But this episode, I decided to talk about some film theories out there that are just plain wacky and funny and just like love to talk about it. So these are fan theories. Find them on Reddit. You find them on Facebook. Find them on Twitter. They're everywhere. We all know our favorite movies. I went through some of them last week and the week before. About horror movies. But some of them have really strange fan theories that are just out there. So I figured I'd like to share a few of these with you. Some of my favorites. So let's start it. Very first one I want to talk about is Titanic. I actually have 2 film theories about this, and they're actually kind of pretty cool. The first fan theory is that, of course, you know Rose, who's the rich girl that goes on Titanic. She's with her husband, obviously not a very happy marriage, and she meets Jack, played by Leonardo DiCaprio. Kate Winslet plays Rose. The first theory is actually kind of cool, is that Jack is a figment of her imagination. He doesn't exist. As you all know, she tried committing suicide. She tried jumping off the boat, obviously very depressed, in a loveless marriage. Or I don't even know if they were married or engaged or whatever it was, but obviously she wasn't happy. So much so that she just wanted to end it all. And what would a mind do in a case like that is desperate, is to create a person to take up the void to make her happy. So the whole movie is her mind playing tricks on her. In fact, she even thinks that other people see Jack. That's how bad her mind is playing tricks on her. So, and at the end, when Jack dies, that's her way of saying, hey, I want to live now. I don't need you anymore. So kind of cool. The second theory, and this one is actually kind of out there, but pretty cool, is that Jack is a time traveler. He knew that the Titanic was going to sink. And his main reason for going back in time to get on the Titanic is to save Rose. He knew he needed to save Rose. And there's 2 facts in the movie that kind of prove this point. Jack actually talks about, I got it written down here, about Lake Wissota and also going on a roller coaster on the Santa Monica Pier. Doesn't sound too weird, except for those 2 things were not around until about 5-10 years after the Titanic sank. So how could Jack know about these 2 things, the lake and the roller coaster, if they haven't existed yet, if he wasn't from the future? So, kind of cool. I had that written on my board. I forgot to use it. My board's going to be in every one of these episodes probably. So, and the next one that I want to talk about is, I'm not going to write the whole title, but you get the idea. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Of course, we all know the movie. Oompa, 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 whatever. I don't know the words. I'm not going to finish it. But the theory that a lot of people actually agree with is that Willy Wonka is not this festive, happy, out there kind of guy who owns his own chocolate factory. The theory is that he is actually a serial killer. And his choice of murder victims are kids. So his way of getting the kids into how he chooses these kids is through the golden tickets. there's a lot of things that kind of prove this. The lack of empathy and sympathy when the kids die throughout the movies. And also, they just happens to have these short little Oompa Loompas sitting right there with songs ready to play about these kids dying, or we don't know if they die or not. They never actually say what happens to the kids at the end. They never actually say. So, and one other fact that kind of proves this is that big, scary boat ride that about towards the beginning of the movie, is that there's just enough seats for everybody to sit in, which is weird because one of the kids just died. So if he didn't die, there wouldn't be enough seats. So obviously Willy Wonka knew that one of his kids was going to die. So there's enough seats. Next one. This is an older movie. Of course, they're all kind of older movies, but I'm not going to read the whole title for this one either. And this actually goes similar to the Titanic one, and it's Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And the fan theory for Ferris Bueller's Day Off is similar to Rose, is that Ferris Bueller and the girl, I forgot the girl name. She played by I forgot, Sarah something, but I forgot her name. Yeah, I should have wrote it down. That Ferris Bueller and this girl also do not exist. Cameron, his best friend, very depressed, not a happy life, rough childhood. I guess his parents are very abandoned. Has no friends, very depressed, on the brink of suicide again. So he invents Ferris Bueller, and they go out on the town, live the life that Cameron always wanted to live but never had the guts. So out came his second persona, the fun guy, in Ferris Bueller, in the girl. So it's kind of neat. That one's kind of neat. The next one, and this one is like really out there, and if you really think about it, it doesn't make sense. But I just thought it was like really cool. I wanted to share this one with you guys. So when I read this, I was like, no, but yeah, it's kind of cool though. This one is Home Alone. And the fan theory is that Kevin McAllister actually grows up to become Jigsaw from the Saw movies. I know it's kind of weird, but if you watch Home Alone, I haven't watched it in quite a few years, but he comes up with these extravagant traps to fool and to hurt the guy who's trying to break into the house. Only a twisted genius mind would come up with some of these traps that he came up with, and who else has a dangerous mind to come up with traps like that but Jigsaw? But if you really think about it, the timeline does not make sense. Home Alone came out in 1990. Kevin McAllister was 8 years old, or however old he was. Jigsaw in the Saw movies is probably in his 50s, if not 40s or 50s. So if my math is not correct, 2010 or 11, when the first Saw came movie out in 1990, the math does not make sense. So, but I just thought it was like really neat and funny and out there. So, and my favorite fan theory, and I shared this with a few people, and I actually love this theory. And this is like the one fan theory that I agree with. I think it's true. Is Grease. The theory is that at the very beginning of the movie, when John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John are on the beach, before they go back to school, there's in the song "Summer Lovin'." Summer lovin' had me at last. That's it. That's all I'm going to sing. There's a line in the song where John Travolta sings, "I saved her life. She nearly drowned." Or Olivia Newton-John, one of them sings, I splashed her around. She nearly drowned. The film theory is that she actually did drown, that he was not able to save her. So Sandy actually dies at the beginning of the movie, and the whole movie is her brain trying to piece together what is happening in the final seconds of her life. So she comes up with Grease, they go to Rydell High, to sing songs and everything. Because if at the very end of the movie, as they're driving away after the carnival, then all of a sudden the car goes up and flies to the sky. The theory is that is her finally ascending into heaven after living this fake life she had after she drowned. I love that theory. To me, it just makes sense. It really does. Why else would a car? I know it's fantasy and whatever. Why else would a car all of a sudden just take off, fly into the sky, into the clouds, and disappear? It just, to me, makes sense. So. And this last one is not. It's not a movie, but I actually kind of like. I like this. There's a couple theories here. So, as I shared last week, my second favorite show is The Office, and there's two fan theories about The Office I wanted to share, even though they're not movies, but it's my podcast. If you don't like it, please like it. But that's okay. If you don't like it, I'm going to do it anyway, so it's my podcast. Who cares? On The Office, the first one is that throughout a couple of seasons, Toby is trying to get radon testers into the office. He thinks that there's radon, poisoning happening, and he needs to get these detectors in to test. Every time they have extra money to spend, Michael Scott says, no, we're not going to spend it on radon. We're going to have a big party or whatever, big chairs or whatever ends up being. So they never actually get the radon tested. And if you notice, from season 1 all the way to the end of season 9, everybody in the cast gets sillier and sillier and sillier and weirder and stranger and just more out there. And by season 9, they're all absolute Fruit Loops, and a lot of stuff they do really doesn't make sense. That's because the radon poisoning has affected them this whole time, and that's why they're acting like that. And the proof is, after Michael Scott left in season 7 or 8, of course, he's out of the office. He's no longer being exposed to radon. When he comes back for Dwight and Angela's wedding at the end of the series, he's normal. He's not out there. He's not crazy. He's just a plain old normal guy. So the fact that he hasn't been around radon, that kind of proves that, hey, maybe that is the case. And the second theory, and a lot of people agree with this one, is that throughout, from season 6 on, I believe, they talk about the Scranton Strangler. In how he got caught, Toby was part of the jury trial. Toby Flenderson was part of the jury to find him guilty. But a lot of people really think that Toby Flenderson was the Scranton Strangler. There's some proof to that, too. As they're watching the car chase of the Scranton Strangler on TV, Toby's not there. And at one point, they zoom in on the car that they're chasing. There's actually a scene in a couple of seasons where that car is actually sitting in the parking lot of Dunder Mifflin Paper Company. So it's really kind of neat. But there you go, guys. Those are my theories. Not my theories. I never come up with these. There we go. I hope you enjoyed that. Under 15 minutes again. Thank you guys very much. I love you all. God bless you. We'll see you next time. And Tim out. Bye.